Robin, go for it.
So, hey Scott. So it's about red ocean, blue ocean,
Okay.
and kind of also the topic of differentiation. So, um, is some of that down just strictly down to the actual content of your message? So the research, the symptom hunting, or because there's so much more competition these days, is it also these days? So, in other words, the sync like the portrait video, that kind of stuff, or how much of it these days also requires differentiating the way you deliver the message as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of everything. Okay. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not tags. It's not horizontal videos versus landscape, if that's the opposite. I don't know. It's got nothing to do with the pixel size and all that sort of bullshit that other people tell you. It's nothing to do with that. Here's a funny thing about red ocean. Red ocean can work under one caveat. If you're more patient and know that 99% of that red ocean will drop off after a couple of weeks, but it'll also fill up the bucket very quickly. It'll fill back up very quickly. Come and go, come and go, come and go. In the 100K program, the very first video, or second video, sorry, at the end, I talk about therapists who change after 1 or 2 weeks. They go from niche jumping over and over without waiting for time to catch up. That's how you can win in a red ocean. But you can't expect to go from 0 to 20K in your first month. You might go a whole year, worst case scenario, no clients. And in that second year, you go from 0 to 100 grand a month because you stuck with it. And over time, you train these clients, potential clients, to see you as the expert. Red ocean just takes time. But I understand we're not very patient as human beings. I'm not very patient either. As more competition comes along, what I've found, I talked to Fritz about this, I think there's more people just wanting to learn therapy than run a business. We're seeing that a lot. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Okay. And that's fine because we can cater for both. It's not to say that being a therapist, you won't get clients. That's total training thing, the opposite. But red ocean, people will come in for a couple of weeks, then they'll leave. The point is, can I stick with it long enough? And I talked about this with Jordan doing what I call the Sumo approach, which I'll bring up in a moment. I'm going to outdo everybody to the absolute fucking extreme. Let me give you an example of this. So there was a study done, which I find extremely fascinating. They were trying to test the lean body mass, and yes, this has everything to do with business, the lean body mass of a sumo wrestler, a power lifter, you know, those guys that lift up trucks and throw tires, and a professional bodybuilder who's all ripped and cut. Who do you think, if you read the comments, don't answer, but who do you think out of that test, and they did scientific tests, they did blind tests, they did all that stuff, who do you think had the most amount of muscle mass out of those three categories? Any ideas? Who thinks the bodybuilder? Because they look it, right? That's what people expected. Bodybuilders had the least amount of muscle mass, lean body mass, but they look the best. They have the least amount of body fat. Next was power lifters, but they're all chubby and just thick. Has anyone seen a power lifter before? Huge mountain men, but there's not a lot of cuts or definition. Sumos, the most amount of body weight, the most amount of body fat had the leanest amount of muscle. Doesn't that sound counterintuitive? So I read that, and that made me think of Elon Musk. It made me think of all these big conglomerate companies. Why? Because they did the sumo approach. Sumos do this: eat, sleep, train 7 days a week. Their caloric intake is anywhere between 15,000 and 20,000 calories per day. Bodybuilders are about 5,000 to 6,000 off season, about 2 to 3 on season. 20,000, that's like 2 weeks worth of food for me. I think I get about 1,500 calories a day. Okay. They eat, they go to sleep for recovery, they get up and eat again, and then spend hours at a time, 7 days a week, pushing themselves around with other big sumos. Okay. They've gone to the absolute extreme. They don't care what they look like. They don't care about the body fat. And it's proven that the more body fat I have to some degree builds more lean muscle. Why? The bigger I am as a person, the more I could theoretically lift. I become a human forklift. But a bodybuilder, curbs the fat to stay more active, to be able to process food and lift and look better. So what does this all mean when it comes to business? What if you just go the Sumo extreme? You get up, you post more social media than everybody else, you eat more, you get more calls than everybody else, you just talk to more people, you lift more, and you go to sleep more. As in, you just keep doing this without taking a weekend off. You sacrifice more. And you just do this over and over and over again, no matter how fat you get. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, Jordan, that answers your question from before, but we'll look at what markers do you look at, which I'll answer. And that's what I recommend everybody does in 2024. And I've been saying that for years. I did about 3 or 4 years straight of 7 days a week. Was it healthy? No. Would I recommend it? To some extent, I would have done things a little bit differently with my health. But I was literally 7 days a week, posting 6 or 7 times a day, 3 new videos every single day, nonstop, even when things weren't working. And my company got fat and fat and fat and fat, but it got strong and strong and strong and strong. And now I can coast off that. I can get rid of the body fat and lean down and have more muscle than everybody else. Does that make sense, guys? So now we're going to call it Sumo CGAs. Just go to the extreme. If you look at most business owners, when they set their goals for 2024, I laugh because I saw this morning. Someone wrote one of those generic posts, what do you want out of 2024? First person said, I'm launching my business this year. The first thing I want to do is set up my vacation time. You've already fucked it. You've already lost. Your business is going nowhere. So with that in mind, guys, going to 2024, what can you sacrifice? Are you happy to get fat and not worry about how it looks if you build more lean muscle? Does everyone get the analogy? Now, I'm not saying don't look after yourself. Be healthy. Walk, move, eat properly, sleep properly, stay hydrated. That's all part of being a healthy sumo. But when everyone has Saturday and Sunday off, what if I just squeezed in another 3 videos? You're 3 videos ahead. Is it boring? Will you get sick of eating food? Yeah, you better believe it. Does that analogy help, guys? So to come back, Robin, to tie it back into, hopefully I'm on track here, tie it back into red ocean. If you go sumo, you can win in red oceans. But the easier thing is to find a blue ocean. And if you go sumo in a blue ocean, look out. You'll be pushing back people who want to pay you triple what you're charging. You'll have no problems.
So one follow-up question, please, Scott. So trends can change then. Have you got any advice with regards to what key metrics we should be looking at? So because there we can chart them, we can track those things.
Yeah, you can analyze, you can track, you can do all these things. That sort of ties into what Jordan was saying, which I'll touch on more as well. What do we mean by trends? Trends as in new social media platforms, new ways to post a video, new lighting. What do we mean by trends? We've got to clear that up first.
Well, trends or interchange maybe with fads. It could be, let's say, popular topics. Niches, maybe they may be more consistent over time. Let's say problems over problems. But so trends, what people are currently talking about. That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah. So I'll touch on yours. I do want to touch on the social media trends just while I brought it up. There's always going to be new social media trends. Always look for the workhorses, which is YouTube, Instagram. We don't use LinkedIn. I don't get anything from LinkedIn, but you guys should use it, I think, to try it. You can try stuff. Facebook, everyone hates Facebook, but hey, I love it. Does a lot for us. Udemy, if you're a trainer, we show you how to do that as well. Email blast, not really. And podcast, I have a feeling because the podcast market is so oversaturated, it'll go away soon. So always stick to the workhorses. There's always going to be new trends and new ideas. Don't fall through. I've been using the same workhorses the last 12 years and I'll never change because they've been proven to work. Now, as far as new and popular topics, things will always change and that's fine. And I can change my niche as I go along, but it's got nothing to do with that point. It's what am I doing before? Am I willing to go sumo to make this thing work? I think, and someone would have to test this, a very bad niche without a lot of pain. I think if you sumoed it enough, you could get a lot of clients from it. It's really coming down to quantity. The only way to win in a very oversaturated market of a lot of therapists and coaches is to show up more than everybody else. There's a reason why you guys are on these courses. Did you just see my face everywhere? over and over and over. That's for a purpose. No one would be here if I just posted one video a month. Wouldn't happen. So you just got to eat more. Does that make sense? But the only way to win a red ocean, sumo. Just get really fat. Who cares what you look like? It's going to be painful, but over time you'll have all the lean muscle you need.